Trump or Biden, doesn't matter to India. US ties is there in a full, strategic embrace. Pompeo and Esper's visit to India for the 2+2 talks is proof that old hypocrisies are history, and supreme national interest has again driven a strategic choice. The coming week begins with the arrival of US Secretaries of State and Defense, Mike Pompeo and Mark Esper, in New Delhi. Now, these 2+2 talks have been an ongoing process for some time. Whatever the struggles and niggles on trade, India-US strategic ties have grown phenomenally. So, what's so special about next week? It is the timing. This will be just a week before the US presidential elections, and probably even the results. How do two of the most important members of the US administration fly all the way to India, in times of the pandemic, for what could be just another episode in an ongoing 2+2 process? More importantly, why is India engaging them with aplomb when neither side knows who will win a week later? If at all, odds from all opinion polls now suggest that Donald Trump is more likely to lose than win. In usual times, the conservative Indian system would have preferred to wait. But then, these are not usual times, and not merely because the Chinese are refusing to budge from their 6-month dharna in Ladakh. That is a big concern for India, but not the topmost foreign and strategic policy priority for Washington. What changes the picture, however, is the fact that China is now the most significant strategic concern in Washington, as in most of the world's capitals, especially the democracies. That is all of Europe, including the United Kingdom, Japan, Australia and New Zealand. The Arabs may not say so, but they watch in fright, and from close, the ties between Iran and China on the one hand. And then the enormously more organic linkage with Pakistan, which, in turn, is also tilting so decisively towards Turkey that its foreign minister attacked and demeaned Saudi Arabia in a public statement. Xi Jinping's China has unleashed waves of panic to its west, east and south. Just to the north, it may be okay at the regional level. Russia is now China's only close and truly powerful ally. Russia is China's preeminent supplier of energy, thereby helping it hedge the Malacca Strait risk. Military ties are also growing. Russia has the technology and an industrial base. China has the military that needs it and the money to buy it. As a result, we see a peculiar new military-industrial complex developing between China's military and Russia's industry. Please note that the Indian Air Force (IAF) already has to presume that it operates in the Ladakh sector under the challenge of Russian-made S-400 and S-300 missiles. India's S-400s won't be operational before sometime in 2022. It's a complex new strategic reality. Between Pakistan and North Korea, the Chinese already had two unpredictable nuclear-armed protectorates, and Putin's Russia is an ally. India, Japan and Australia, the only balancing powers in the region, are being pushed around. Taiwan is intimidated, Hong Kong is taken. All members of the US-led Five Eyes Alliance are worried, and China's will be the only major economy to grow in this globally shambolic year. This makes it the #1 bipartisan strategic concern in America. Probably the only thing Trump and Biden agree on, their fight being over who is going to be tougher on China. In Goswami Tulsidas Ramcharitmanas, an irate Lord Ram lays down an important principle in all relationships, whether among human beings or nations. Nobody loves you unless they fear you. He might have said it then to justify exercising his own formidable strengths, but it also works in reverse. For example, nobody would give up the pretense that this flurry of India-US contacts, the urgency with the Quad, and Australia's return to the Malabar naval exercise are not all about China. But senior US officials such as Deputy Secretary of State Stephen Biegun, who was in India a week ago, are no longer shy of saying China is the elephant in the room. It is that the fear of a rampant China that is bringing these powers together, tossing all diplomatic reserve. That is the reality. China has lit this fire on every cautious diplomat's desk in these countries. That is why, after New Delhi, Pompeo goes to Colombo and Malé. Yes, Malé, Maldives. Days before the elections. In the 1990s, as a unipolar world emerged after the Cold War, strategic autonomy for India meant the freedom to define its strategic interests and policies independent of the dominant power, the US. It was particularly important because, whatever the difference between the two Clinton presidencies, his people still thought that India-Pakistan was the most dangerous place in the world, a nuclear flashpoint, and also fantasized that they could help resolve the Kashmir issue. This made India seek strategic balance by reigniting the old affair with Russia and reaching out to China. Today, strategic autonomy has acquired a sharper definition. To ward off the Chinese challenge to India's territorial integrity, sovereignty and regional stature, the speech Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivered at the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore in 2018, where he asserted a very different, conventional definition of strategic autonomy. That India will plow its own furrow, and the big powers should avoid getting caught in another competition. He won't be reading from the same text again today. Supreme national interest drives strategic policies, not nostalgia and old hypocrisies. When a Cold War rages, or a new one begins, as now, India can never be truly non-aligned. It is just that Nehru chose America too late after 1962, when he was in steep decline. And his daughter preferred the Soviet Union. Under her, at least between 1969 and 1977 and then from 1980 to 1984, India was anything but non-aligned. She was an ally of Moscow because she was acting in the national interest. Today, no such hesitations remain. A choice is being made, in Washington and New Delhi. It is a full embrace. It is also bipartisan in both countries, especially in the US, where a change within a week is a real possibility. That is the reason this 2+2 is taking place even a week before the Americans vote. Thanks for watching Military World Update. Please do not forget to subscribe.